Hey boys and girls, welcome back to Mr. Grant's little art studio here. I have a lesson today called 1 Point Perspective that, if you track with me, is going to completely change the way you do artwork from here on out. So boys and girls, the way I start this lesson in class is that I talk about an age in American history called the Gilded Age. Gilded, do you guys know what that means? Gilded means covered in gold. You guys have seen me give these little coins out as a token of appreciation in class. But if you look at it, it looks to a young child in kindergarten or first grade like it's worth a lot of money. But if I bend it, I bet you I can snap it because it's not made of gold. Maybe not. But if you look underneath, it's just made of cheap plastic. That's what gilded means. Gilded means just covered on the surface with gold, but underneath it's something, usually hiding something else. This 1 point perspective picture of the Biltmore Estate that we all know is a perfect example of the beauty of a building made during that time period. But along with that, what we don't see are these images of the poverty, the pollution, the unfair wages that happened during this time period. So I want you to draw a 1 point perspective city today as a vision of how the world could be better in the future during your generation. So what you need for 1 point perspective cities is you're going to need a ruler and a pencil and an eraser, a good eraser and a piece of paper. That's all you need. If a line goes straight up and down, it's called vertical. This line cannot look like this. This is not a perfectly vertical line. You can see that. That's diagonal. This is diagonal. These are the ways I'm explaining to you that this is where students go wrong. And this is the number one problem I have when teaching this lesson, is that they don't understand what vertical means and horizontal. Horizontal means completely flat, left to right. As if I were going to put a marble on here, and a marble, if it was not perfectly flat, would roll off if the ruler was diagonaling this way, right? And a marble would roll off if the ruler was diagonaling this way. So the only way a marble would not roll off of a surface is if it was perfectly flat. That would be called horizontal. I do have a trick to teach you on how can you tell if your line is perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal. And the way I teach people this is by comparing their line to the very edge of the paper. The edge of the paper is always going to be perfectly straight up and down. If these look like train tracks, then it's perfect. If those two lines will never crisscross, it's a perfectly vertical line. If you look here at the bottom edge of your paper, and you compare this line to the bottom edge, you know that it's horizontal. If you can remember those things, this will be very, very easy for you, this lesson. Okay, so the first thing I need you to do is to draw your vanishing point in the middle. After that, I need you to connect the vanishing point to all four corners with a straight line using your ruler. Okay, next step is we're going to draw the next type of line, which is a vertical line next. We're going to draw the vertical lines in here and in here. Now when we draw our vertical lines, we want to draw two lines near each other, just like this, and then leave some space for your buildings. My ruler bent a little bit. That's a little bit crooked. That's good for my right-hand side of my artwork. Now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. Now I'm ready to move on. I didn't have room to do two here, but you'll see what I'm going to do next. So if you don't have a T-square, you can use your ruler, but one helpful tool is a T-square. This thing is awesome because you can just hook it right on the top of your paper and it helps you draw a perfectly vertical line. You can see that my line is not perfectly vertical even. It actually curves a little bit. And the way I can tell is the top of the T-square is no longer flat. This blue part here is no longer flat on the top edge of my paper. When it's flat on the top edge, I know that I'm drawing a perfectly vertical line. The next step is we're going to draw a horizontal line, and you can even use this T-square on the side of your paper like so to see if you're drawing a perfectly horizontal line that matches the edge of the paper. But since you probably only have a ruler, then I'm going to just use a ruler too. So what I want you to do next is that you see the two lines that you drew? Find the one that's closest to the vanishing point between the two of these. And at the top of the line and the bottom of the line, I want you to draw a perfectly horizontal line. Draw a perfectly flat horizontal line. Okay, now on this side of my paper, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at the two lines. Which of these two lines is closest to the vanishing point? This one or this one? This one is the farthest away, right? This is the closest. So I'm going to draw this line. I'm going to draw a horizontal line going away from the vanishing point, like that. Notice that I'm creating these little triangles. That's going to be useful later. Now on this one up front here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a line horizontally to create this little triangle here. Okay, you're almost done. My next step to drawing buildings in one-point perspective is to erase the top edge of that triangle. Okay, do you see it now yet? Do you see the buildings beginning to take shape? Okay, so the last two steps here are a little more difficult. Well, the road's pretty easy, then the drawing the signs, the doors, and the windows on the sides of the buildings is a little difficult. So what I'm going to do now from a vanishing point is I want to draw a line forward to make a road. And then I want to draw another line on this side that's about the same thickness. So now I have room for, these are sidewalks, if you couldn't tell. And I can draw some more horizontal line. Now my sidewalks are done. Well, I could always add more by making them come up from the road. But that's a little too advanced for today. So my next step is the windows and the doors on the sides of the building. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to draw another vertical line, just like I would with my T-square. That vertical line needs to match the same angle as the side of as this line that shows you where the side of the building begins. So for a window, I'm going to draw a little dashed line. Oh, my ruler moved. There we go. There we go. You see those dashed lines? Now what I'm going to do is connect those lines from the edge of those lines to the vanishing point. This is going to seem very strange to you. And now I'm going to draw vertical lines inside those shapes to make my windows indoors. Same thing is true if you're drawing the middle line in the middle of the road. It needs to be pointing to the vanishing point. And that, and the last step I would do is draw something in the background, whether it be mountains for a setting. Where is your city? Where's your amazing city going to be taking place? Is it going to be in the mountains? Is it going to be near the beach? I'm going to do water by drawing a straight line with little dashes for water, just to give you an idea. That's spread out as they come farther, as they get closer. I want my mountains to all eventually be the same height at the top edge. Or would I want it in a bigger city? Would I want a city in the background? So I'm drawing at an angle, making this difficult. but I'm basically just drawing a staple shape and adding to it by drawing other staple shapes next to it and then connected from the middle to the other middle of the other staple. I know that sounds confusing, but if you're watching, it looks really pretty simple. I hope this video helps you find a different way to draw a city in one-point perspective. When you're done drawing your city in one-point perspective, I would highly recommend sharpening and coloring. If you're drawing words on your side of your building as well, just remember that the words also have to point, the edges of the words have to point to the vanishing point. So a lot of times I draw a shape around my words so that they point to the vanishing point. You may want to sketch them out because look, I'm trying to write the word taco and I ran out of room. So I'm going to have to overlap that to improvise. Okay, have a great day. Hope to see the awesome city, the vision you have for a new city in one-point perspective.